Hello, my name is Andrea Baker, and today I would like to share my ideas for research design in an effort to close a gap that exists between deaf graduates and vocational rehabilitation services, VRS. The research question in designing a quality research paper is essential. It needs to be one that sees a world problem, one that is feasible, falsifiable, and seeks information that differs from the current research findings enough to give new insight and fresh perspective to bring potential solutions for a resolution that to date has been unsuccessful. This in mind, my research question is how can early transitional services, pre-ETS, successfully increase the number of deaf graduates who will access vocational rehabilitation services with the goal of successfully acquiring satisfying careers, a freedom afforded to all Americans that to date has excluded the deaf? Finding a dependent variable is more complex than just comparing apples with oranges. While there will be comparisons made, the dependent variable is not changed by the independent variables. It is the effect, not the cause. In seeking to find the answer to my research question, my dependent variable, or DV, is vocational rehabilitation services has a low percentage of deaf graduates that utilize its services. This research design will look at the independent variables and how they are perceived and demonstrated for effectiveness or ineffectiveness by students, teachers, and other professionals in the pre-ETS and VRS process. These are the people who will be writing the IEPs, which are individualized educational plans. Excuse me one moment. So they're the ones that will be writing the plans and implementing them, considering variables such as access to information, repetition of concepts, parent inclusion and participation in training activities, job shadowing, and career presentations by local or online employers, transportation, and implementation of pre-ETS. More time, just hold on one second. Right. These independent variables will shape the research and give those reviewing it an idea of the current research and how the idea of pre-ETS as a standard for transition is worth considering and why. Current research will be presented that demonstrates applicable demographics, such as how many deaf students are using pre-ETS and VRS now, and its success rate, comparing that data with deaf students who complete the pre-ETS and VRS programs. Data will demonstrate the findings of measurement and comparison, how many of that number procure sustainable, excuse me one moment, sustainable post-secondary employment the deaf students' opinions on the benefits of these services or how they're suffering without them, the pros and cons of implementation of these programs, how legislation may need to adapt to accommodate these programs, and other considerations found in the research to make this projection feasible. This will take a balance of both quantitative and qualitative research. Many years of being part of the deaf community has revealed a problem that is over 200 years old. Unprepared for the ins and outs of finding and keeping a satisfying career following graduation, deaf students are thrown into the lake and are expected to sink or swim. Ill equipped to navigate the process of locating accommodations. And then not always provided with them, not knowing how to dress for interviews, how to write a resume, how to self advocate for their needs, and a myriad of other tasks necessary to be successful in the world of work. All these things are in my wheelhouse of expertise and wisdom. And there is research that I have uncovered in this doctoral pursuit to confirm what I've discovered. I'm in here. To confirm what I've discovered through my profession and through my interaction with the deaf. There is limited research currently out there that affirms the value of early intervention, and it does not necessarily show that it can be used consistently as a bridge between school and employment. Deaf advocacy is a strong passion of mine, and as I've been told, I have a deaf heart. And it is a big part of my profession as a missionary that works alongside the deaf. This is a good thing, but in research, you have to do the counterintuitive and present the opposition as a way to draw out your conclusion. I have never excelled in math. I have, since being here at Liberty, overcome my fear of math, which I used to think was hatred of math. But still throwing X's and Y's at me that remind me of problems I had to solve to acquire my undergraduate degree. Quantitative charts and diagrams can be rather daunting and overwhelming to me. I believe that the meat of my research is qualitative, but there will be quantitative considerations and will need to be included to make the research convincing. Lastly, I will be in search of more current research, at least from 2015 and later, that will support the deaf perspective versus just the general disabled population. The sign pictured on the screen is the ASL sign for I love you. As the first verse in 1 Corinthians 13 says, even if I know everything about everything, if I do not have love, I am nothing. As followers of Jesus, love is the driving force and the foundation of all we do. If God is for us, who can be against us? This is how we know we will succeed where others have failed. When we are on the side of the right, of truth, when we're on the side of truth, love wins. All of this research, all this that is challenging, time-taking, and overwhelming at times is worth it. When all is said and done, if we follow the rule of law, the laws of God, as well as the direction of the Holy Spirit, we not only write effective policies and legislation that will make a difference, but one day we will hear our Father say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." What else really matters? Thank you for your time and allowing this creativity into the presentation. It is who I am and what I do. I know you have surmised why I'm signing. It's also who I am and what I do, and not to mention why I'm here in this program, as well as my life's mission. God bless you all and everything that you set your hands to.